Hi, thank you, Michelle. And as always, before we begin, I would like to introduce NoMAA's Stroll Coordinator and Inwood's very own Martin Collins, who has a special statement to share with us tonight. Martin, you're up.
Thank you, Nuria. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us this evening on this Thursday evening, Thursdays with NoMAA, which will continue at 7:30 every Thursday through November the 19th. And we are very proud that this Thursday with NoMAA is powered by 809, 14 years on Dykeman Street between Post and Nagel Avenue, the sine qua non of uptown restaurants. 809 has been a staunch supporter of the arts and culture uptown for all of its 14 years. It was the host of the 2013 Uptown Art Stroll closing reception, the 2014 and 2015 poster contest selection. In 2018, it hosted a wonderful show by artist Emmanuel Abreu, who joined us in our first series, Stay Home Open Studios, on a weekend in 2018 during the Uptown Art Stroll. And last year, we had a very successful event at 809 called The Hop, which was in collaboration with Uptown Talk, Pink Rain, and Jason Chico. 125 people turned out. We had artists of all disciplines perform that evening, June 6th of last year at 809. And we are very grateful to 809 for sponsoring tonight's Thursdays with NoMAA and muralist Danny Bonilla. Neria, back to you.
Thank you, Martin. And we are also so happy to be powered tonight by 809. So thank you to them as well. Good evening to all of you and welcome back. We are back and we could not be happier. Today we launch, hi Gina, today we launch Thursdays with NoMAA, which will be a 13-week program of evenings like this one that showcases the abundance of talent that we have in our community. My name is Neria Leyva Gutierrez, and I'm Acting Executive Director of the Northern Manhattan Arts Alliance. And before I introduce tonight's artists, I wanted to express our gratitude to all of you for being here, for your enthusiasm, to the artists who have participated, and some of you are here tonight, to those who will participate this go around, and to those we hope can participate in the future. Your support and your commitment to the arts and to our community have powered, to borrow Martin's phrase tonight, this second go around of programming. And I do want to take a second to linger a bit on the term powered by. It feels so relevant right now to feel the power of community, of compassion, of drive, of support. This undergirds everything we do, and we are empowered by it, frankly. In the last 3 weeks, so much has happened since we've been gone, and yet this week, as it also proves, so much has stayed the same. And I'm thinking here especially of Jacob Blake. What this tells us and what this shows is that we need fuel. We need power. We are caught in a big moment, and big moments require a huge engine to move forward. But history has also shown us that artists are and always have been ripe for these causes and these moments, unleashing their creativity based on the close observation of the world around us. This is one of our greatest and most powerful forms of expression, of power, and of documentation. We need our artists more than ever before. We need to feel connected to one another, and we need to together make sense of this complicated, untidy, and indeed messy world around us. And so this brings me to tonight's artist, who is not afraid of engaging with this moment and who has been incredibly prolific in these last several months. I am so happy to introduce you tonight, Danny Bonilla. Danny is a New Yorker through and through. He's lived in Washington Heights and Inwood for 13 years before moving to the Bronx for 16 years, and then to the Dominican Republic for a year and a half. At the age of 24, he moved back to Manhattan, receiving his education at New York schools, PS 152, IS 218, High School of Graphic Arts, and graduating from FIT with a B.F.A in computer animation and an A.A.S in illustration. According to Danny, art has been a driving force, and we use this term again, power, right, for his life since he was 4 years old. And since he graduated, he has primarily worked in film production and the hand-painted advertisement industry, while simultaneously sticking to his dream, as he describes it, of becoming an artistic entrepreneur, or as he would say, creative engineer. And okay, this is where the record scratches. This is Danny's formal biography, but suspecting there was more, we asked him for more. And this is what we also learned. Danny, bilingual and driving since the age of 13 or 16, has worked as a cab driver and driven countless trucks without ever having had an accident. He's worked in the film industry on music videos, editorial shoots for magazines and indie films. He worked on a movie called A Kid Like Jake and Spider-Man 2. He's worked at a printing press in New York City, focusing on quality control, mock-ups, deliveries, and setups. He has hand-painted advertisement and, not surprisingly, has suspended off of scaffold and scissor lifts while working on the sides of buildings in various cities. One of his favorite jobs to date is delivering flowers. He has interned at the Source magazine for 6 months and worked at an exhibition that took place around the Christopher Columbus statue in Columbus Circle. For 3 years, he took photographs for friends and of their events, and this felt more like a hobby to him. Indeed, Danny is inspired by his friends, by his surroundings, and his experiences. He can't settle on a favorite artist, though I might ask him about this later, since he is inspired by so many, including the talents his friends possess, those working artists. And as he has said, these are the people who are clocking in and clocking out every day to make it happen. He is inspired by his girlfriend, who keeps him punctual and helps him be more discerning and critical, by his mother, a business owner, and by his friends, including Naomi, a yoga instructor whom he describes as dope. Observing and connecting with people are clearly a recurring theme for Danny. He loves music and playing guitar every now and then, and we can see his guitar there. He dreamed of working for Pixar after seeing Toy Story, and he loves and observing people on the train. He starred in a movie called Kazuiachi, a rags to riches story, and I want to hear all about this, about a kazoo player who sold his soul to the devil for wealth and fame and worked on a 3D movie for his thesis project. And finally, and this is so great, and I can totally relate to this, he has read about 10 to 20% of the books on his shelf. See my shelf. I relate. Ladies and gentlemen, that's who we have with us here tonight, and I couldn't be more excited. So Danny, I turn the floor over to you. Welcome.
Welcome. Hey, what's up? Hi. It's like cool, like seeing like all these people out over here. That was a super awesome introduction. I would have not done any better. And I'm very proud about like not having to crash any of the trucks that I driven. So it's not easy to drive trucks in the city.
As we've been telling you, the death of George Floyd marked a turning point in the Black Lives Matter movement, prompting a worldwide campaign against systemic racism and violence. Some support the movement by marching, others donate to the cause, but one man is using his creativity to commemorate this moment in history. When Susana Osorio heard looters were breaking into businesses in the city, her heart sank. Inwood restaurateur was already losing thousands a day because of the pandemic. She knew putting plywood up to protect her businesses would likely keep even more customers away.
Imagine after everything what we go through, we have to cover our windows.
So when Danny Bonilla and his band of merry artists offered to paint over the ugly plywood, she jumped at the chance to cover her restaurants with murals of George Floyd and messages of solidarity. Bonilla says he felt helpless after Floyd's death, so he did the one thing he could.
The only way that I know how to express myself is through art. So that's how, we started just creating. doing something and people are stop looking and talking to each other.
Mm.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. There's something really kind of interesting about hearing the thundering and the lightning and the rain while we're watching you. There's something poetic and ominous and beautiful about all of it. Um, and so I feel like there are lots of questions to ask you. And I think, I'm so happy that you're kicking off this program tonight, because in a moment where we're all really, in a way, having forcibly to retreat from the world and we're working in isolation, you are actually sort of intentionally engaging with the public and engaging with the world, and that really does signal something I think so important for all of us. So I would love to move to questions and answer sort of period. I'd love for people to have an opportunity to ask you questions about your work, about your process, about your thoughts and your ideas, and sort of your future, the projects you're working on. If you have a question, please put it in the chat room. I'm going to turn the mic over to Joanna Castro, who is our consultant for special projects at NoMAA, who will actually be moderating this segment of the program. So Joanna, if you're ready, I'll turn it over to you, and you can start, maybe kick off with a question, and then open up the floor to other questions. So I encourage you all to go ahead and deposit your questions in the chat. Joanna. You're muted, Joanna. We haven't done this for 3 weeks, so we're rusty.
Yes, feeling a little rusty.
I know, it's
yeah. Good evening, everyone. Buenas tardes, buenas noches. As Nidia mentioned, please feel free to type in your questions or comments in the chat box in either English or Spanish. We're super, super excited, as Nidia, Martin, and Michelle mentioned, to have Danny with us tonight. So I'm gonna throw in the first question. Danny, I noticed that you were wearing headsets. Do you listen to music when you're working?
Yes and no. A lot of the times I actually like to listen to the people around me. But when I am kind of like alone in the zone, it's the best time just to start working, just, headphones on, world off. But I think a majority of the time I actually like to listen to everyone around me. I'm like not afraid of like my own thoughts in the world around me, so.
Nice. I wanted to give a shout out to Sally Fisher, who's one of the volunteers at the Ring Garden, who actually wanted to be there tonight, but because of the rain, we didn't want her to get wet. She was super excited to show the murals that you did that are now right in front of the Ring Garden. So if you could talk about those pieces, as well as the ones that are on Dykeman, how it came about. I know the video had part of the story, if you could delve a little bit deeper. And I know Michelle has still images, and she's welcome to accompany you as you're talking about them, the inspiration, the process. Do you start with a pencil drawing and then work directly on in this case, the plywood? If you can walk us through that creative process, I'm sure many of us are looking forward to hearing about that.
Yeah, I actually want to give them a quick thanks and a shout out to the Ring Garden for letting us even just have the boards up there. I'll talk more about how I actually keep them up there and all that stuff, but when those boards they started across the street in all the businesses, like that whole strip of businesses, and I was actually not around, and I saw someone painting. I kind of left because I had to do something. I came back and a friend of mine called me over to actually paint, and he saved me a board. And when I started working on that one, I kind of like spoke to my girlfriend real fast about how, like, what should I do? And like, we spoke a little bit, and then I went to the wall, and then, you know, I got to the wall, I had the idea, and then I spoke to my other friends that were there, and we kind of like reshaped the idea, because I wanted to do the same thing as everyone else, but be in kind of like the same path. And then after that, I just decided to do something super simple. And I think I put Stand United with like a bunch of fists. The store owner from that one location, she liked it, and she was like, "Can you do more stuff on these other two boards?" And then I came about of like putting all the names of a lot of the victims that either like died or like had police brutality next to my piece. And then next to that, I put, yeah, that one right there. I put peace, love, unity, respect. So it just like kind of like all meshed together, but they were all three separate pieces that just came about. And what was so cool about it is that everyone like kept on like stopping and like asking us questions, and like, who are these people? And like, and it was just like kind of like a conversation, and other people started naming other people that probably that died or that had like, that came to altercation with like a police officer or something like that. And it was pretty cool. And so once the businesses started opening up, me and some of my friends, we basically like walked them over across the street. I drilled like nails on the top and like put wires up them, because like I don't want them to fall over. And I know a lot of people pass by that block, so I was just like kind of like, you know, looking out for other people's safety as well too. But they're all sitting there right now, and I'm like very thankful for like the people at Ring Garden for letting us like just rock the whole block. And people pass by, people take pictures, you know, people take pictures in front of it, conversations happen. And yeah, I'm very thankful to have been in that little part, and that my friend called me over and like, hey, like we have a board here for you, like ready to paint, you know?
Thank you. So we have a question from Elizabeth. Elizabeth, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
I have to unmute, no? Am I mute? Oh,
You're good.
I'm good. Yeah, your stuff is wonderful, and it's wonderful for the neighborhood. And I want to know, when you're not painting on boards, do you have a studio?
So fortunate enough, like my studio is my apartment. It doesn't look like this every day, but since I don't have like a legit studio, I just use whatever I have, or with whatever I can at the moment. And at the moment, my studio is like literally my apartment, which I'm like super thankful for. And like whenever I need to like do a project, I just like put all my paints on the, you know, like on the side out over here. And then I have like my easel set up. And once I'm done, I like put everything away. And then the next morning I take everything out. That's just basically it, you know, like I got to work with what I have at the moment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Dister, I think you had an interesting question. Dister, can you hear us? I think he might have muted or disconnected. So he made reference to your hair.
Oh,
Danny.
yeah.
Is it true your artistic skills come from your long, luxurious hair?
Just a little bit sometimes. But I don't like keeping my hair out too much, because it like gets in my face, and I'm just like there painting, and I'm just like, and then I get hair in my paint and all that stuff. But Yeah, tell Dister yes. I'll text him that later on, but I do get my artistic powers from my hair.
All right. Glad to hear that. I believe that Nydia has a question.
I do. I have a question. How is your work informed, or how has it been informed by the quarantine? So how would you sort of describe what you were doing before March and after March? What's the thought process? What are your impulses? How has it changed? Sort of how do you see all of this having sort of figured into your artistic production?
Well, before, like around, was it February, March? Yeah, like around January, February, I was working until so like I was like let go. I'm proud. Not that I'm proud of saying it, but like that's the reality. I was like let go from a job that I was at, and basically like I came back home and it was just like, you know, I had to do something to keep my mind occupied. So I started taking up like just a lot of like meditating. I started like reading a couple of books here and there. I started doing some drawings like in my sketchbook and like doing some paintings, but not a lot, because like you're stuck at home all day and you're kind of just like, you know, what to do, and you just stay home and think. Um, so basically like during that whole time, I just like kind of like try to get my mind to stay active with either reading or like painting letters, like stuff like this, you know, like just like painting letters. And I guess I just like try to keep myself open and prepared for a opportunity. And literally like I think it was like around April or June, like an opportunity opened up. And like since I was still doing my art and thinking about it all the time and kind of actively doing it, I took the opportunity and just like went with it, you know?
That's so interesting. So this is one of those moments where you kind of just, you know, put it out in the universe, you know, just kind of continued your creative process and we're waiting for things to kind of open up. It's so interesting to me because, you know, you talk a lot about, and you mentioned to us that one of your favorite things was to be on the subway and to do figure drawings. You know, you sort of, one of the constant themes was, you know, how interested you are in the human being, right? You know, and you talk about listening to them and hearing them and watching them and drawing them and those kinds of things. And of course, when you're in quarantine because you have a pandemic, you know, that becomes kind of difficult, right? So how did you reconcile that? How were you able to kind of, you know, what was that process for you like, kind of shifting from that, seeing people all the time and drawing inspiration from them, to sort of thinking more conceptually about what was happening to people sort of in their own little spheres? What was that like for you?
It wasn't that hard of a change. Like deep down inside, I actually like being alone and like closed in my own apartment and in my own little world. So it just like it gave me time to kind of just like look inside and like, you know, see what is it that I'm actually doing and kind of just like realigning myself. But trying to adapt to it was, you know, it kind of sucked because you walk outside, you see nobody. I remember like during March, like I was like doing a few little jobs here and there, and like literally, like I'm like walking back from Allen Street, and there's like nobody out on the street. Like from this place right here, from this cafe, I was like walking back to the train to West 4. This is like on Allen Street, and like from there to West 4 is like a 15-minute walk, and you see nobody. Like there was like nobody on the streets, and I'm like, wow, like there's actually like this thing is about to like go down right now, you know?
Yeah, there's something very disconcerting about that quiet and that stillness, right?
Yeah, this is like, I don't know if you can see, but this is like a moment when like the train was like all packed. You know? I mean, these just like little sketches and stuff. I just like kind of like I have like books like this. I just like kind of like make like little stories of like people stuff. Just like I just draw them, but you know, not being able to get on the train is just like I gotta draw people from memory and stuff.
Yeah, that's a big shift. Joanne, I think there's another question. I'll turn it over to you. You're muted. Joanna, you're muted.
There we go. Okay, so now we have Paul Dale, who actually was part of a group exhibit at the Allen, I believe 2 years ago. Paul, are you with us? Would you like to ask the next question? Paul, are you with us?
Oh, yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I just want to ask the brother if like what artist inspires him most? So I see a lot of different styles. Daniel has amazing range. I was wondering what artist inspires him the most.
That was kind of like that's a hard one for me to answer. A lot of the times, like literally, it's like all my artist friends inspire me. Like anybody who I'm like kind of like around inspires me a lot. Cause I never like studied artists. Like I probably studied like one artist, and I think I told that to Neria, which was Degas. Yeah, this the person who did this drawing. And I liked how like he captured movement in people. So then like for me, I was always like throughout my whole schooling, I was always around other artists. Uh, and I was always fascinated by everyone else's work. Not that I wanted to be them, but I wanted to have a style of my own and like be part of that, be part of like the whole collective. So like a friend of mine, like she's from Hong Kong, like her name is Joey, like I've known her forever, and she has like really cool style. Like the one guy that like asked me the question a little bit earlier, Dister. I just like recently met him, but like seeing his work all over like Uptown and throughout the city, like he has his own style. So I like look at that, I'm like, wow, that's pretty amazing. And like these are people that they're alive and that I can like quite possibly chat with and stuff on, like find out their process on how they do their own artwork and all that stuff. And it's pretty cool. Like to me it's cool because it's just like they're alive, they're here, and you can like poke at their brains and stuff.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Thank you, Paul. Great question. Our next question is from Elizabeth.
Is it off? Okay. Yeah, I think this continues the question that Paul asked you. Your biography mentions school. So you went to art school, and I want to know, did you like art school? And do you say that your work was very influenced by, apart from Degas, from your school experiences here? And what would you say your work shows of that?
Yeah, I definitely did like art school. Like that was like the only thing that I felt that I excelled in all my life. What was fun about it was that I was able to create and be creative with other creative people. As far as like, I learned about the A.A.S during high school. Shout out to graphic arts. I, what you call it? I've learned of the A.A.S in high school, and then after that, when I went to college, I started doing like a figure drawing class, and I kind of just like saw the similarities. I can't say that word. Similarities there, and then I just like kind of like I never like put them together. I just knew that they were like kind of like the same. And then after that, like growing up, I got got more familiar with other artists. That was like kind of like my influence, I guess. But all in all I can tell you is that art school was pretty fun, and that was like one of the few things that I knew that I was able to excel in. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. So it looks like we have audience members who are really wanting to learn more about your process and how you create in some more detail. The next question is from Aide. I think you're muted.
Hey,
There we go.
how are you? How's everybody? Hold on.
What's
So,
up, Haiti?
hanging. My question was, so I pretty much watch all the stuff that you do, and I love creating art myself. I haven't in a while though, but I always get inspired. And I see like so many different things that you have in your background, as well as the things that you do and post. Is there like a specific type of like material or like paint that you like using, or things that like, what do you prefer? Because I see you painting on walls, I see you painting on paper, I see you painting on wood. Like what, what's one of your preference?
Yeah, I kind of find it like difficult to actually say like, okay, I do this and I want to stick to that, and I kind of should, but I have fun being able to create with different mediums. One of my like biggest requirements is that I make sure that whatever I do has a color, and like I don't want to say like the brightest colors, but just like enough colors where they like kind of like contrast around each other and all that.
Yeah.
And if like the colors don't mesh up together and they don't complement each other, then I literally paint it over and start like something like that. Like I paint it over again. Like there's one painting here. This one right here took me like forever to do, because I started it over like several times. Um, but my thought process from like beginning to end starts with just an idea that I get inspired, like walking around the street. I remember one day I have like one painting over here that I like saw someone just sitting on the train, and I just had like an idea in my head, and I started sketching them out. And then after that, I was just like, oh, like this would be cool if it looked like this. My mind runs at like 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Until I kind of like focus on it and try to write it down somewhere. So then later on, when I see it, I'm like, okay, I remember I did this, and I thought of that, and I thought of this, and then I built up from there. I built up from the idea. Then once I build up from the idea, I like see it in my head, and I put it on the like whatever canvas or board or wall, that I think that it should, it'll fit the image. And then from there on out, I like tell myself, okay, color is like, I gotta put this color next to this color, and then this color next to that color, and like make it look like that. But that's like basically it. Like there's, like, I don't, I don't think there's a right way of doing anything or a wrong way of doing anything. But just as long as there's colors that kind of look like something at the end, or it looks like your vision. So if it's your vision, get the colors and put them together. And even if it like I always tell people like never, like don't compare yourself to other artists, because like other artists are other artists, and they're their own discipline. So, you know, I'm like, maybe I might never be a super realistic artist like the next person, or maybe I might not be as abstract as the next person, but you can learn something from the next person because they have they, they have their own thought process, they have their own ideas, and you know, everyone has a different way of doing art. Hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you, A.D. I think I mispronounced your name. Thank you for such a great question. Our next question is from Regina, who's the volunteer curator at Hebrew Tabernacle and who's been attending, I think, if not all, most of our events Thursday nights. So Regina, take it away. I think I caught you chewing. Yes, I think, can you hear us? We can't hear you.
Joanna, she wants you to read it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, please read. Thank you. Okay. I'm a little slow today. I think I'm still a little rusty. All righty. Thank you, Elizabeth. So Regina's question is, are there artists in your family? How did your family encourage you?
Yeah, I actually I have one uncle that in the Dominican Republic, he was a painter of his own kind in that city. My mom, she does like curtains, like she's somewhere on one of these cubes. She does curtains, so that's like being creative. My sister, she's a poet. I have other family members who they sing. That's like an art of itself. And I have, I think like my father drew a little bit because of like his brother. But I can't confirm or deny that, you know. But I think those, yeah, from the top of my head, like those are the people that are artists in my family.
Have they influenced your style, your work, your vision?
Yeah, like I think, like I don't know if this is true or if this is just like a memory that I implanted in my head. I remember seeing my dad draw something when I was like a little kid, and I was just like, oh, that's cool. Like you can draw things, and it just like kind of like stuck with me. So like that's like one thing that like influenced me. With my mom, like she worked a lot and she worked hard. So that's an influence right there. And then like all my other like creative like friends and family members, just being creative, like that's another influence for me right there. Sometimes like it's never like, you know, like the whole cliche like, oh my god, like that artist influenced me. It's more like, you know, that person influenced me because they actually spend 14 hours a day working on something, or you know, they spend 5 hours a day working on this like one tiny piece or something like that, or they prep really well. Like, wow, like that person's like super organized. Like, how can I be as organized as that person? So then I could in return be organized and do be productive in my own field and stuff.
That's an interesting point of how influence really can mean many different things, different shades, no pun intended, no? Different elements. If Danny's mom is here, we'd love for her to say a few words.
Ma, quítale el microphone, unmute it. There.
Hello.
There you go. She can now speak.
Hi, Danny.
Hi, Mom.
I'm so proud of you, you know. Muy orgullosa de ti.
Gracias,
Realmente para mí es es lo mejor que Dios me ha dado, tener un hijo como tú. Eres una persona con un corazón tan noble y eres un artista innato, no porque yo lo diga, sino porque desde niño siempre te inspiraste haciendo tu arte. Yo tengo la primera pintura que Danny hizo, la tengo yo allá en mi comedor y en la Florida, y siempre yo enseño esa pintura con tanto orgullo. Aquí tengo otra pintura que él me hizo aquí en el apartamento de Nueva York, y la verdad que viendo todo lo que había pasado aquí en la ciudad de Nueva York con lo que pasó con, con el Black Matter, realmente fue algo que me dio mucho gusto ver a mi hijo haciendo lo que él ama, porque esa es su pasión. Realmente, a veces yo quería que él fuera, qué sé yo, o sea, en mi mente, uno siempre tiene una idea de que el hijo que sea doctor, que sea abogado, que sea esto, pero yo siempre dejé que él fuera lo que él quisiera, que estudiara lo que él quisiera, porque eso era lo que lo iba a hacer feliz. Y me siento tan feliz al verlo a él feliz, al verlo realizar su sueño, al ver que él con sus manos puede crear cosas hermosas. Y además de todo esto, llevar un mensaje de esperanza y un mensaje motivador para todas las generaciones que vienen, la juventud que está hoy en día creciendo, que sienta la inspiración en él de crear un arte tan hermoso y un arte que puede inspirar y puede llenar los corazones de alegría. I'm very, very happy for you, Danny. I love you so much, and I hope you go far away. You can touch the star if you want it, because you have all the power.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Those were beautiful words. And this is a first tonight of having a mom in a program and just having just lovely things to say. I'm going to quickly translate for those who might not fully understand Spanish. So basically, as you could tell from her big smile, she is very, very proud of Danny's work, in that he's an intrinsic artist, and that she has one of his first pieces in her living room, and that she likes to show that piece off, as well as the piece right behind her. And that she liked seeing the pieces that he did related to Black Lives Matter, and just being so proud of him. So those were just beautiful, beautiful words. I hope I summarized well enough and with all the heart that she gave. So thank you, Mommy. Very moving. We have back Paul, who has another question. Paul, are you with us?
Yes. Yeah, I'm with you. Oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, you can read it. I kind of forgot what I wrote. I got so involved in his mom's emotion, I kind of forgot what I wrote.
Sure. So I'll read your question. What do you wish your legacy to be? How do you want people to feel when they see your art?
I want them to have like their own thoughts, you know. Every time I like do something, I just kind of like just like stand there and watch, just because like the next person has a mind of its own, so they could think whatever they want to think. They can interpret the art the way that they want to interpret it, and hopefully like start a conversation with whatever they're going through at that moment. Like, I don't know if you could see this one right here, like this painting. I kind of did that one like off the top of my head. Like I had like a little picture, and I started painting it, and I was just like, oh, like let me put this color here, let me put that color there, and I kind of altered it I finished it, people looked at it. I was like, oh my God, that's a mermaid. And it was like never my intentions for it to look like a mermaid. I just wanted to do a cool like blue backdrop, and then, you know, give her green pants and give her a gold chain, and that was it. And people were like, oh my God, like that's a beautiful mermaid, like that's so beautiful. And I just was like, okay, great, you know. And that's like kind of like what I want people just like to take away from my art, that they see something and they can interpret it the way that they want to. Like, it's their art, it's, you know, it's not, it's like I did it, but I'm here to show you the visuals. Like once it's out of here and like on here, it's gone, you know. It's like, fly away, my children.
So your paintings are your children in a way, no?
Yeah, because, you know, like you sit down and me, like, I kid you not, my body temperature gets like really hot when I'm like working. So like if it's like cold like one day, or like I have my AC on, like I have to kind of just like take off layers and just like paint and all that stuff. And I'm like, I feel like my body's just like creating something, and I feel like an oven, and I'm just like working on something that's like, you know, being plastered onto either a wall or canvas or whatever it is. And like I feel my body temperature just like rising, because I don't know, like maybe my mind is just like working extra, maybe I'm like tapping into something, I don't know, whatever it is, like it's just it's coming from here and just being, you know, translated to there.
That's beautiful. I believe that's a beautiful way to wrap up. So we've concluded the Q&A part of tonight's program, and now back to Nydia.
Thank you, Joanna. Thanks to all of you, and especially thanks to Danny and to Gladys. Is that your mother's name?
Yes.
Hola, Gladys.
Hola, hola.
Muy hermosas palabras, gracias.
Sí, realmente también quería decir que nosotros como comunidad latina y comunidad dominicana debemos apoyar más el arte, porque estos son jóvenes que están luchando por un sueño de llegar lejos, de hacer cosas, de crear cosas, pero a veces los artistas desafortunadamente tienen muy poco apoyo de la comunidad y de las autoridades. Y es un arte, es algo hermoso que cuando vemos un artista, una pintura plasmada en una pared, es algo maravilloso porque es un bebé. Entonces debemos de dar más apoyo, todas las instituciones, debemos dar más apoyo a los artistas latinos y a los artistas del barrio, o sea, que nacen en nuestra comunidad.
Muchas gracias por esa palabra. So just to translate, and I think we all can share in this sentiment. We need to support art. It's especially this next generation, and I think something that we've seen tonight through Danny and Gladys's words is this idea of this younger generation of hope, of inspiration, and of really engaging in the world. And those concepts really today, I think, and I brought this up at the beginning, you know, we should feel powered by that. And in being powered by that, we should reciprocate with support. And we should reciprocate with taking care of that engine, right? Maintaining that engine, making sure that it has everything it needs to continue, because that's ultimately what will take us forward. And you know, a lot has been written this week about whether people are leaving New York, whether New York is dead, and Jerry Seinfeld talking about New York not being dead. And of course, you know, I think everybody needed to hear that and to read that, and we all kind of know that, but we need to show that, right? And we need to continue to show that we believe that. And so Danny, you being out in the world and engaging and doing just that, I think is so important right now. And so, you know, we feel so happy that you're here with us tonight, and that we can really support your art and continue to talk about these things that I think are so important. So thanks to all of you. I want to move to something a little more lighthearted now, and this is the rapid fire question moment. So Danny, if you're ready, I'm just going to ask you a few questions and you can just kind of off the cuff give an answer.
Short answers, right?
Short answers, very short answers.
Okay.
Yeah, very short. Okay, so these are quick questions, whatever occurs to you. Here we go. We're going to start now. What is your favorite place in New York City or Uptown?
Fort Tryon Park.
All right, that was quick. I like that. All right, good. Okay, I'm asking you this because I know you have thoughts about this. What is on your ideal playlist?
I literally, ideal playlist, just like every Pink Floyd song there is.
Pink Floyd. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. All right. Okay. That sounds like this is like the right moment for Pink Floyd, right?
Yeah.
I think so. Okay. We know you're a brilliant artist, but if you had an additional talent, what would it be?
To be really good at math and then become a famous physicist.
Ah, okay. Maybe that was what your mother was alluding to when she was talking about other things that we might do, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
she always tells me that I should have become a lawyer.
Ah, yeah, I heard that growing up too. I never took that as a compliment. I never took it as a compliment,
Yeah.
but I do remember being told that. Okay, all right. If you had a time machine, would you travel back in time or would you travel forward in time?
I would see what the Egyptians are up to when they were building pyramids.
Ah, nice. Okay.
It's
like
like
that.
It's like so cool when you go to Central Park behind the Met. There's an obelisk over there, and I'm like so amazed by that thing. And every time I pass by through there, I'm like, there's an obelisk over there, and people are just like, we don't care. I'm just like, it's so cool.
It is very cool. No, that's a good one. All right, I like that. Okay, here's one, because you spend a lot of time on the subway, and so what part of the human face is your favorite?
And
why?
It's like here-ish. Like this
wow,
area.
that is very specific. Okay, how come?
Like, you know, just getting the eyes and like this, like just like this part right there and coming down to the nose. I like knew everything, I knew all the bones in the face, but I remember just the mandible. But just like being able to get all this area, it's like pretty cool. And like you could like either, you know, make big eyes or small eyes or make them look somewhere. Yeah, just like I think that's like where I start off, like somewhere around like here, and then I branch out. I'll like do the face first, like I'll do a circle, and then I'll start somewhere here. Like
somehow I knew you'd have a great answer for that. Okay. All right. All right. So do you remember the last meal that you had that was most memorable?
The last meal that I had that was most memorable was literally the one that I had like an hour ago.
How lucky for you. What was it?
I ate from the Parkview. Shout out to the Parkview. I ate from the Parkview grilled chicken Cobb salad. And it's really like their Cobb salad is like really good.
Yeah, I think that like if you can make a good roasted chicken, a good Cobb salad, and a good linguine with clam sauce, like you're solid. Those are kind of those like, you know, dishes that you're like, okay, we're good. All right, that's nice. Okay, two more. What is on your nightstand?
My phone charging. I don't have a nightstand. I have pillows that we stack up.
Okay.
On my girlfriend's side of the bed, there's a nightstand.
Okay.
But on my side,
All you've got is your phone.
yeah, just my phone charging. That's it.
Fair enough. That's good. Okay. All right. So here's your closing question. And you can take a second or two to think about it if you wish. What do you consider your greatest achievement?
I don't know, being able to continue doing what I'm doing. Like, it's not easy actually, telling everyone, like, I want to do this and actually go for it. People will stop halfway, or people don't even start at all. So just being able to, like, I'm super thankful for it, and being able to create, being able to show my art, be inspired by people, and just continue doing it. It's, I guess, like, my biggest achievement. I don't think there is anything else that, like, I'm proud of other things too, but it's just like, having to continue that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a perfect answer. And I think it's the perfect way to launch this series tonight, to end our evenings, to go into a weekend after a difficult week, after difficult months, after difficult several months. So we are grateful to you for being here tonight to share all of that with us. And as your mom said, to inspire. And I think that we could all use a little bit of inspiration. So thank you for that. Thank you all for being here tonight. We are so happy to be back. We've missed you all. We're happy to have our Thursday nights again, our dates with all of you. For those of you who are just joining us, I hope you'll come back again and again and again. We have a great program planned for the next 12 weeks. And I'm going to turn the mic over to Martin, who's going to give us a little bit of information about what's coming up next. But thanks again, Danny, and thanks to all of you for being here. Marty, you're up.
Thank you, Nuria. We want to thank again 809 for powering tonight's program. 809 has a outstanding menu, which is Dominican-infused Caribbean cuisine with an award-winning chef, Fede Alvarez Cordero. You can check out their website, 809nyc.com, for all of their menu items. Next Thursday at 7:30, September 3rd, we will have Stefan Paulini, an award-winning pianist who lives here in the Uptown community. And Stefan's program next Thursday, September 3rd at 7:30, will be powered by Beauty Coffee with their 3 locations in Washington Heights, Inwood. They have 2 in the Heights, one at their original location, 213 Pinehurst Avenue and West 187th Street. One of their newest locations in the George Washington Bridge Bus Terminal at West 179th Street and Fort Washington Avenue, and their Inwood location, which is at 4961 Broadway and West 207th Street. That's next Thursday at 7:30. We invite you to join us. We also invite you to please see our newsletter at nomanyc.org, which is a concise resume of all Uptown Art Stroll cultural events and exhibitions, open studios, and other programs that are coming up in the next week and month ahead, and that's at nomanyc.org. Finally, 2 last items, if you would. The survey, 3-question survey on your screen from our executive coordinator, Michelle Orsi-Gordon. We would appreciate your feedback on tonight's program, and we would ask you to please give us those answers that you would to those 3 questions. And lastly, the importance of filling out your census. The 2020 census is very important. We're 30 days away from the termination of the census and the opportunity to complete your census. And if you haven't done so, if your neighbors haven't done so, please go to my2020census.gov. Please complete your census today. It's very important to our city and our state, and for funding, which will come from the federal government to New York in the next decade. Thank you. Neria, back to you.
Thank you, Marty. And thanks again to all of you. We wish you a wonderful evening. We look forward to seeing you again next week and every week after that. And Danny, thanks again to you tonight for such a wonderful glimpse into your process, into your studio. We look forward to seeing everything that you're up to in the coming days, weeks, and months. So we will continue to watch you. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good evening. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week. Good night, everybody. Thank
Night.
you.